Hi guys, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. So this is the next part in my glue book series, and we are ready to put all of these pages together into our 3 signatures. So I'm sure everybody has their own way of stacking their papers to make signatures. I just thought maybe you would like to see how I do it. So yeah, that's the plan. All right, so what I do is I have this stack, right, of all the pages I sort of, gathered. And I know that this is going to be, these are our first pages of our signatures, right? So basically, and hopefully this will work out fairly well. I just start laying them out in the order that I think I want them. I know that this is going to be the page that goes in the very center, so I'm going to sit this off to the side. You might not even be able, you might not be able to see it, but it's over this way. Okay, so we had let's see, three pages. And then we need to do just one that has 2 pages, and then the other 3. So yeah, I just kind of get a feel for, and that my desk is not big enough for this process with these big pages, but we'll do the best we can. So we have our animal pictures here. So I usually try to, alternate between larger pages and smaller pages, so you get kind of a neat, interesting effect when you do that. So here we have some scrapbook paper and some more scrapbook paper. And I'm just, the like items are going in a stack together, basically. All right, so I need some smaller things. So here we have our 3 brochures, right? So I'm gonna put those in between here for now. And then we have our 3 pieces of junk mail. I thought there were 3 pieces. Oh, here it is. Okay, so our 3 pieces of junk mail, right? So that, let's see, I don't know yet. We'll put it over here. And then we have small calendar pages. So those can maybe go in between those 2. We have our bag pages. I'm gonna sit those over here. We've got some just plain sketch paper. And then this scrapbook paper, maybe we'll put that second. And then we have our calendar pages, and there are 3 sets, I believe. Yes. Okay. Here's some more smaller pages that can go here. All right, so these were our kitty cat calendar pages, and maybe those can go here. And then our teddy bear calendar pages, you're not going to be able to see, but I'm going to put them over here. And then these were the bright colored ones. And let's put those, it just kind of becomes it honestly doesn't really matter how you go about this, but I just like to kind of separate things a little bit. And then we have our atlas pages. Those can go, I'm gonna move the center here. Those can go over here. And then we have our IKEA placemat papers, and those are gonna go somewhere. Let's put those here. I'm gonna move this to here, I think. All right, so that's basically how I start. And I know this is an absolute jumbled mess because my desk is not big enough for all of these papers, but you'll quickly, you know, kind of see what my thought process is here. So because I think it's easier in this regard, I'm going to start with my center page, and then I'm just going to pick a page up from every stack and start putting it together. And I like to stagger kind of the sizes and, you know, where things go, so everything isn't exactly lined up. And but that page. Now I think I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but these are going to be too long now. The book pages are going to be too long for the book. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to put this together first and then I'll figure it out. All right. So yeah, this is what I do. I just start adding my pages. And, you know, just making sure they kind of, I don't know, look nice, all put together. We have a small calendar page that can go down at the bottom. And I don't worry about the book pages being in any kind of order or anything. It doesn't matter to me. If you're worried about that, then you can just arrange them accordingly, whatever works for you. Okay, now we're up here. So we have our paper bag. Hopefully you can tell what I'm doing here. And then this page here. And this page. And then we have a kitty cat page. And I'm going to put that closer to the top. So see, I'm just kind of staggering where things go. Okay, I don't like that there. Let me think for a second. I'm going to switch. No. Well, maybe it's okay. I think it'll be fine. Okay, we'll put that more towards the bottom. And then have our next book page. And we have our zebra. Scrapbook paper. And calendar page, and then our first page. All right. So as you can see, the book pages, I don't know if you can tell, the pages that came from the book are the ones that are sticking out further. So I have to decide what I want to do with that. And I'm not entirely sure at the moment. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to sit this off to the side. So this will be our first signature. Set that out of the way. And I'm just going to keep going, but I'll speed this up so you don't have to watch, you know, the live action version. It'll make it go a little faster. All right, so once I have that complete, then I need to kind of look at this and figure out what I want to do with these book pages that are sticking out too far. And my thought is I'm probably just going to cut them down, but maybe not. Maybe I will fold them. Let's see how they fold. If they fold well. I need some more space here. If I just fold them over. Like that. That way you get to keep the whole book page, but it's not hanging out. It depends on the book. Sometimes I do it this way if I don't want to, you know, ruin the actual pages. And other times I just cut it. If it's, you know, if like the edges aren't, if there's nothing very interesting or whatever. So that's how I take care of that issue. So now we have a nice, perfectly flush signature ready to go into our glue book. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold these book pages off camera, so you don't have to watch me do that 3 times. And then I will come back and show you how I get them ready to sew into the covers. So I'll be right back. So now the next part is to just get everything clipped together so that you can sew it into the cover. So I'll show you how I do that on one of them. And I've already done one, and then I'll just do the other one real quick. All right, so I just make sure everything is lined up top and bottom, you know, so nothing is sticking out anywhere. And everything looks nice. And then I open this up, and while still making sure that everything is, you know, where it's supposed to be, I push everything into the spine here. Just shift that a bit. So if you can see what I'm doing, I'm pushing into the spine and down onto my mat to hold everything as close together as possible. And then I'm just adding a binder clip to the top and the bottom. And usually I can do this without too much trouble. Yeah, we got it. Okay. So that's one side, and then we're just gonna flip it and do the exact same thing. Make sure everything is okay. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm just shoving it in and down to hold it in place. Okay, and then just putting my binder clips on. Like so. All right, so there's our second one. I know it looks really weird right now. Let me make sure I have this the right side up. Yes, okay. So there's number 2, and let's go ahead and do number 3. I'll go ahead and undo it so you can watch again, because it can be a little difficult to tell what's going on. So I've got everything lined up top and bottom. Okay, I think you can probably see that for the most part. And I'll turn it this way so maybe you can see better. And I'm pushing everything into the spine, and I'm holding down onto the table so nothing moves while I use my other hand to grab a clip. And I'm going to do the same thing on this. Let me make sure that's not sticking out too far. It is. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's make sure everything is inside before we do this. All right. All right. So press in and down. Get your clip on there. Okay, and then same thing here. And then we'll flip it over. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, and then as you can see, it's not going to fold nicely, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that everything is lined up so that when we poke through, we're actually going through, you know, the crease of all the pages and not like the sides of some of the pages and that kind of thing. If that makes sense. So, okay, so there's that. Next thing we need to do is figure out where we want to poke our holes to sew these in. So how I do that is I use my centering ruler. So if you have one of these, I just wrote on the page. This is a Tim Holtz one, and I will link it in the description box below. So I just line that up. Now we know that these pages are 12 inches, so that makes this kind of really easy this time anyway. So I just line my ruler up top and bottom. And so I know that because they're 12-inch pages, that my center point is at 6 inches. Let me, I'm gonna zoom you in real quick. Okay, that's better. I think you can see better. So I've got my ruler lined up top and bottom, okay? And I'm gonna make a mark at 6 inches right here in the crease, okay? And then I think I will do, I usually do probably at 3.5 inches from the center. And that should be good to cut to, you know, catch all of my shorter pages. So I've got it at 9, you know, 3.5 this way, and then 3.5 this way. Okay. So there's that one. And then we'll just do the same for the other two. So line up my ruler. Make a mark at the center, and then at 3.5 on either side. So we've got 3 pencil marks there. And then we'll do this one. Same way. Trying to hold this out of the way while holding the ruler so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so we've got at the center, and then at 3.5, like that, okay? So there's our 3 marks on that one. I had a bit of a mishap with the other book, and I need to do some stuff and fix it. So we measured for our holes in our signatures, and now I'm going to show you how to make a template for your spine so that you can poke the holes in that. So I'm using a different book than the one we were working on, in the previous section, because I need to fix something on that book. But anyway, this one is similar. It's 12 1/8 inches tall. Okay, so what you want to do, I just used a piece of cereal box and cut a piece that is 12 1/8 by 3, which is the size of my spine. Okay, and that fits in there perfectly. And then what I'm going to do is measure, just like we did with our, I'm going to make marks basically for where we want to poke the holes in the spine. Sorry, my brain just completely failed. So we know that this is 3 inches across, and we know then that we need 1.5 inches on either side of our center. So that's how we will mark our center. Okay, and then I'm gonna do at 1 inch away on this side and 1 inch away on this side. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing at the top. Let me zoom in. Okay, sorry about that. I should have zoomed in before I started. So if you can see here, we have our center and then our line, we've got our center signature here, and our first and our last signature will go here. So I'm gonna do the same thing at the top. Okay, we know we need 1.5 inches on either side of our center to find the center of our 3-inch spine, and then 1 inch on either side. And then I'm going to connect those marks. If I can, let me move this. I'm just trying to get this lined up without putting my head in the camera. All right. And then this one. Okay, so there's our vertical measurements, and now we need to do the horizontal measurements, right? Because we're going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I need to find the center of my piece of fake spine, and obviously my ruler is not 12 1/8, so I'm going to have about 1/16 of an inch left on either side of my ruler when I do this. And then I'm going to find the center, and we did 3.5 inches on either side of that for each hole, correct? And I'm going to do that again. Actually, what I'll probably do is use my ruler to make sure that I have my marks lined up properly. And I will just make another mark up here somewhere. And then I can draw these lines, okay? And this ruler is fabulous for all of this because it has so many lines, and you can make sure that you're straight, and you can line up lines with the edge of the cereal box, so you can make sure that you're getting everything kind of lined up straight. I'm not, like crazy worried about it because, you know, it's never, yeah, I try not to worry too much, but it is nice to have this ruler. So like I said, I'll link it below if you don't have it. All right, so there are our marks for where we need to poke holes. So we're gonna poke holes where our lines intersect, okay? All right, and what we're gonna do is, I have this handy 1992 phone book and my awl, okay? So just some sort of pokey tool. I'm gonna go ahead and poke the cereal box first, so I can just have, I can, you know, it'll be slightly poked before we start poking through the spine. It just makes it a little easier because the spines on these kind of, you know, get rather thick after you cover them with fabric and, you know, all that stuff. So I'm just poking all the places where the lines intersect. Okay, then I want to bring my spine in, and if you're worried about it, you can clip this on here. I'm just going to make sure that it's, you know, kind of centered in here. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not gonna bother clipping it because it doesn't bother me if it's a little off. But if it's gonna bother you, make sure you clip it, okay? And then I'm just going to make sure it's in there and straight, and I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna poke all the way through the book. It's a little awkward because I'm trying not to stand over it right now, but, and like I said, it is, you know, you've got a lot to go through here. Plus, you know, the glue and everything. It can be a little bit tricky. Move that up so you can see better what I'm doing. Okay, and then you can see that we have, maybe you can see, there they are. And I usually then turn it over and make sure that I've gone through the back, and then I will find the holes and go the other direction just a bit. Because sometimes that fabric like heals back together, and I just want to make sure that I can see the holes from both sides. Makes it easier when you go to sew in your signatures. Okay, so that is ready to go. All right. So now we just need to poke the holes in our signatures, and I use my handy, this thing, brain phone book for this as well, because I don't have a fancy little cradle or anything, but this works for me. And I will need to stand up over top of this and show you. Okay, so I lay this inside the middle of my phone book. All right, and can you see the holes there? We've got 1, 2, and then the third one is down here. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of hold this as close together as I can. in its original shape. The binder clips will do most of the work, and obviously I have to be able to get my hand in here, but I'm just gonna like sneak a peek and look where I need to put my awl, and then I'm just gonna poke through and make sure that I go all the way through. And I'm gonna do that for all 3 holes. Okay. And then, as you can see, we have nice, neat holes right in the center of our signature, or right down the spine of our signature. So let's do it again. Okay. We have our holes, or our marks in here. Okay. So we're just gonna hold this together as best we can. And that the crease of the phone book helps hold the signature together. All right, so here we go again. We've got that hole, and there's our other one. It's a little off, but that's okay. It'll be fine. As long as all your pages are held together, it'll be fine. So let's do this one. And our last one. Okay, so see, we've got our holes poked, and then they're nice and perfectly lined up on the spine. All right, so that's how I do that. And then we're ready to sew, but I'm going to do that in a separate video because this one has gotten sort of out of hand. Here's something pretty to look at while I'm finishing up. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I know sometimes it's hard to really explain what I'm doing when I'm doing it. So if you're a newbie, or you're a beginner, or you're not quite sure what I was talking about, please ask. I don't want you to be confused. And yeah, so I'm going to come back and show you how to sew these in. And then I think after that video, there'll be one more where we will, where I'll show you how I just sort of very, very lightly embellish the insides and add some fun things for the recipient. So, all right, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.